Hi guys, the Tories' line of attack at the moment when it comes to the new Labour government is to ignore the last 14 years and demand that everything works now. The Conservative Party's thinking since 2010 has been to either underfund public services on the one hand or to see more and more state money go into the pockets of the private sector. This has resulted in councils struggling to provide social care, it has resulted in doctors and nurses going on strike over pay, it has resulted in infrastructure not being built. But you must forget about all of that and be angry with the new government. Here, serial fibber Robert Jenrick appeared on the Kay Burley show where he attacked the Labour government over prisons and prisoner releases.
4 new prisons are going to be built, billions of pounds it's going to cost, 14,000 new spaces. It still won't be enough, says the Justice Secretary. It's all your fault.
No new prisons are being built. Let's be perfectly clear. Despite all the fanfare from the Justice Secretary today, she did not announce money for a single new prison. All she is doing is finishing the prisons that were already being built by the last government. She has admitted today there's going to be a massive shortfall in the number of prison places. And that means dangerous people who should be in jail will be on the streets of our country. Labour are releasing prisoners early.
They had to, because they were so full. In August, they had to let 100 people go.
Kay,
go on.
If I was Justice Secretary, I would not have released those prisoners. Over my dead body would dangerous people who should be in jail be out on the streets posing a risk to members of the public.
They were dangerous when they were released. That's why they were chosen.
Well, they've actually admitted that they released in error dozens of people who they then had to go and find, get back into jail. The Justice Secretary had to go to Parliament cap in hand last week and change her own law because it was riddled with loopholes on things like murder and stalking, really dangerous and important offences.
If the prisons were full, what would you have done? You have done emergency release previously, haven't you?
Well, I'll tell you what I would.
Yes, they did. They released about 10,000 people from prison early. So that's not something that the Conservatives like to trumpet. Yes, they released about 10,000 individuals from prison before their sentences had completed. But now they're complaining about the Labour government releasing people when the prisons were absolutely full. They couldn't take in any more people, so they had to release some people.
I would get the 10,500 foreign national offenders out of our prisons, out of our country.
Why didn't you do this before? See, he's trying to present himself as, I was just elected in 2024. You know, the Conservative Party didn't exist before 2024. Your party was in power for 14 years. The prison system was underfunded. Prison officers were leaving because of the paying conditions. And now you're saying, well, if I was in charge, we were in charge for 14 years, we didn't do a very good job, but if I was in charge now, what I would do is I would send all these foreign prisoners away. Then why didn't you do it before, Bob?
That is the number one thing we can do to free up prison capacity. And how do you do that? Use every lever of the British state to put pressure on those other countries to take back their own criminals.
Put pressure on other countries. So you're going to try and strong-arm other countries into taking back these criminals. So you're not going to engage in diplomacy. You're going to engage in gunship diplomacy. That's going to work really well, isn't it? What we're going to do is we're going to force countries to... How are you going to force these countries? Well, maybe he will explain.
Do things like stopping issuing visas. Don't give foreign aid to those countries. If they won't take back their criminals, we shouldn't be supporting them.
Oh my goodness. Is this guy the stupidest person ever? Foreign aid doesn't just benefit the country that's receiving the aid. It's part of soft power. So this guy wants to undermine Britain's influence in the world. He wants to strong-arm countries into taking back a few... Like, we're talking about 10,000 prisoners. But how many countries are we talking about? So he wants to damage Britain's reputation on the world stage to send a few hundred prisoners to a country that doesn't want them. And then what? You've damaged the UK's reputation and damaged its soft power, and you've achieved what? You sent a few hundred prisoners to a country that doesn't want them. And you're going to stop, you're not going to issue visas if they don't do it. So you're going to undermine Britain's economy as well, because it needs workers. Because your party decided, well, Brexit would be a good idea. Let's cut ourselves off from Europe. Let's end freedom of movement. Oh, now we have a shortage of workers. This guy has no solutions. Unfortunately, he wants to be the leader of the Conservative Party going forward. He's waiting in the wings for Kemi Badenoch to crash and burn. It could happen at any stage. And he has no ideas. He just wants people to forget the last 14 years. He wants to criticise the Labour government for not fixing everything in a few months. The problems that these people created, his government, his party created all of these problems, and now he wants you to forget about what his government did when they were in power and attack and be angry with the new Labour government. It's pathetic. Let me know in the comment section, guys, what you think about all of this. As always, your comments are greatly appreciated. Thanks a lot.